seems to be a subject that seems to concern a lot of people on YouTube. That if you are into Star Trek, don't like Star Trek Discovery, you probably stumbled upon the channel Midnight's Edge. And there's a lot of stuff out there, like the Kitowalski's kind of stuff, accusing the channel Midnight's Edge of being conspiracy theorists, of just making stuff up and being some kind of thing that they got from back alley sources that aren't based in anything. And it's kind of weird because I watch Midnight's Edge, and honestly I just watch the Star Trek stuff. I'm a Star Trek fan and I just watch the Star Trek stuff, and if I watch this stuff, they clearly quote the sources that are publicly available. Like, if you take the stories about Alex Kurtzman being the boss of Star Trek, they quote the sources from comicbook.com, which is owned by CBS, about Michelle Paradise taking over in Star Trek Discovery. They quote the sources which are publicly available on comicbook.com, which is owned by CBS, about Michael Chabon being the showrunner of Star Trek Picard. They quote the sources from comicbook.com about a new Star Trek brand manager, about a new owner of Star Trek Studios. This is stuff that is publicly and officially said on comicbook.com about people taking over jobs from Alex Kurtzman, and people are saying this is a conspiracy theory that Alex Kurtzman was removed, but no, it is all openly there, and people say, why is he still executive producer then? Honestly, this is a very American thing. A lot of Americans, because for some political reasons, are against unions, so a lot of Americans have non-union jobs. But if you're part of the Americans who have union jobs, you know that there are work contracts where you cannot be fired from unless a release fee is paid. Here in Europe it's completely normal. And in fact, in America, if you are a sports fan, I know that a lot from European football, what you call soccer, people cannot be fired unless a release fee is paid in sports, like in American football and basketball, in NFL, that is football, I just said that, in NHL, in hockey, or what is the other sport, baseball. They have these contracts. You cannot be fired unless a release fee is paid. There's like, in sports, that's a normal contract, but for those Americans who are in non-union work employments, here in Europe it's completely normal that you have contracts where you cannot be fired from it. This is the union economy. Here it's normal. Especially in higher levels, like a company I worked for, there's like, I don't know how to translate this, there's a level 3 boss, and he obviously sucks at what he's doing. So what the company is doing, they cannot fire him because his contract says they can't fire him. So they bring in two level 2 sub bosses who take over all his work, but tell the level 3 boss, you're still totally in charge. You're the boss. You're the boss. Level 2 sub-bosses do all the work, but the level 3 boss who can't be fired, you're still the boss. You're still the man. You still have all the responsibility. And of course, in Germany, it's not like the level 3 boss who has been replaced by the level 2 sub-bosses will still be like, oh, I am the man, I am the boss here. And all the employees are like, yeah, you're the king, just shut up, just go away. But in reality, the level 3 boss, like I said, I don't know how to properly translate that from German contracts to American contracts, but in a union work situation, that level 3 boss effectively has no power because the level 2 sub-bosses below him do all the work. And everyone in America who has a union contract knows exactly what I'm talking about. That Alex Kurtzman, he can still be the executive producer. He doesn't actually have anything today to say. He has been replaced in everything. He's been replaced in everything, but he's still the boss. You're still the king. Oh, Alex Kurtzman, you're the boss of everything. Exactly like in every German company. You're still the boss. You've been replaced in every executive function, but you're still the boss. You're the king. You have everything to say. And he probably believes it, and some people probably believe it, but the employees say like, yeah, he's totally the boss or whatever. What the shit. Yeah, he obviously has no power whatsoever, and everybody who knows union contracts know that's how it is. Yeah, Americans who don't know union contracts will say this is a conspiracy theory, but this is how union contracts work. If he can't be fired without a release fee, he'll still be the super boss, but he can't be fired and he has nothing to say. It's how it works in union employment. It's just how it works. It's no conspiracy theory, it's how it works. That much about the Alex Kurtzman story. You waited 8 minutes for the real, what did Brent Spiner call it in Independence Day? Big Nick, the freak show, or the big story. The Prime is not canon. Oh, Prime is not canon. Yeah, that conspiracy theory that Star Trek Prime is not Star Trek canon. I commend you for watching this video for 8 minutes for this, but actually this is how licensing works. Again, publicly available information on. It doesn't get more public than that. Wikipedia says that Star Trek as a franchise. Look on Wikipedia, list of highest grossing franchises. Scroll down to Star Trek, it's way below actually. Star Trek has grossed over 10 billion since it was first created, and 4.3 billion is from merchandise sales, and it's the highest selling part of the Star Trek franchise. It's merchandise sales. Star Trek, it's over 40% merchandise sales. It's not as extreme as Star Wars, which is over 2/3, but Star Trek still, it's over 40%, almost 50% merchandise sales. Star Trek is all about merchandise sales. That's where the money is in Star Trek. That's the publicly available information. on freaking Wikipedia, it doesn't get more public than that. It doesn't get more public than Wikipedia, where it says the Star Trek franchise got over 40% of its revenue from merchandise. So, if you want to make money from Star Trek, you want to make money from merchandise. And if the Star Trek rights are split between Paramount and CBS, and Paramount wants to make money from Star Trek, Paramount wants to make money from merchandise, because that's over 40%. That's where almost half the money comes from. It's based on the publicly available information on Wikipedia that almost half the money from Star Trek comes from merchandise. So if Paramount wants to make money from Star Trek by making new Star Trek movies, they want to make money from merchandise. But CBS has all the rights to all classic Star Trek. The only way Paramount can make money is to make merchandise that isn't owned by CBS. It's not a conspiracy theory. They want to make their 40% money. They cannot make any money with stuff that is owned by CBS. So they have to do something different that isn't owned by CBS. The only way to make those 40% is to make something that isn't owned by CBS. It's not a conspiracy theory, it's so obvious. 40% of all Star Trek money comes from merchandise. CBS owns all Star Trek TV show merchandise rights. I'm repeating myself, but does it get through to you that if Paramount wants to make merchandising money, does it get through to you? They can only do that if they release merchandise that CBS does not own a license to. That's not a conspiracy theory, that's money. Money is not a conspiracy theory, that's money. It's the simplest thing ever. Which, of course, explains the J.J. Abrams movies. But the next big conspiracy theory accusation comes with Star Trek Discovery not being, classic Star Trek. I feel ashamed for humanity that I even need to explain this. I feel truly ashamed for the mental gymnastics some people want to come up to deny this as a conspiracy theory that yes, obviously Star Trek Discovery is linked to the J.J. Abrams movies which Alex Kurtzman wrote, which were preceded by the comic books that Alex Kurtzman wrote. And Secret Hideout is obviously a spin-off of Bad Robot. It makes my head hurt that I even need to explain this, but yes, Star Trek Discovery was created to increase the merchandise money for Bad Robot, because obviously the 40%, which I've mentioned again and again so far, did not work for Bad Robot. They founded a sub-company to increase the sales among those 40% of merchandising money that Star Trek is all about. Why do I need to explain this? Why? Why would people say this is a conspiracy theory? Why? This is so obvious. Come on. This is just basic capitalism. You have a company, Bad Robot. They want to do Star Trek movies to get the money from Star Trek. Star Trek is money. Star Trek generates money. Star Trek generates money. Star Trek is a popular franchise that generates money. Money. 40% of that money is merchandise. So they release merchandise for their version of the franchise. They released the 3 J.J. Abrams movies, want to generate those 40% from the merchandise. It doesn't. People don't buy the merchandise as much. So they form a sub-company, secret hideout, to build up that 40% merchandise money more. Why do I need to explain this, pretending this is some kind of conspiracy theory? This is so obvious. Like, come on, they want to get the merchandise money. Star Trek is almost half merchandise money. It's the ship models, it's the gadgets, it's the shirts with the Starfleet badge. It's so much about Star Trek. The money in it is the merchandise, the uniforms, the ship models, the action figures, the gadgets. That's Star Trek money. The gadgets, the action figures, the uniforms, the ship models. Come on, that's the Star Trek money. That's half of the Star Trek money. They want that. They want the money. It's a conspiracy theory that people want money? No, they just want the money. So yeah, J.J. Abrams does his movies. Merchandise doesn't sell as well as it should. So a secret hideout is formed to make a version of the J.J. Abrams license to get the merchandise money from TV shows. There's nothing conspiracy about it. They just want the merchandise money from the J.J. Prime stuff. They want the money. They just want the money from the merchandise. There's nothing conspiracy about it. They just want the money from the merchandise. Come on. Why would you doubt that? They just want the merchandise money. That's why they formed a sub-company to get it from a TV show. That's not a conspiracy. That's just how it is. Companies want money. do stuff and want money for it. It's how capitalism works, that companies do stuff and want money in return. It's just how it works. It's incredible that anyone would doubt that any company would want money for their work, but actually, wow, companies want money for the work they do. Yeah, it's how it works. Wow. Yeah. So that's how we got there. That secret hideout as a sub-company tries to get money for Bad Robot. It's not a big conspiracy. It's not like JFK UFOs and David Icke reptiles. It's just that companies want money for the stuff they do. Wow, what a surprise. But it's how it is. Companies want money for what they do. And so Secret Hideout was formed to get money for the Bad Robot merchandise. Wow, what a conspiracy. What a conspiracy that companies want money for work they do. Seriously. Just don't take the accusers seriously. Honestly. Obviously, companies want money for the work they do. It's not a conspiracy. It's just how it works. You do work and you want to get paid for it. Why would you doubt people wanting to get paid for the stuff they do? It's just... oh man.